And we are going. We are back live in the High Button Sports studio. Hello to everyone watching and hello to everyone listening. Jeff, happy to have you back in the studio. This podcast feels like it's a part of me. This podcast feels like it's hard. I don't even know how. When you do something in life, like if you go to school every day, you go to work every day, you do something every day, you create Play-Doh sculptures every day, Jeff. You do whatever you do in life. It almost feels like it's in your veins a little bit. And this podcast kind of feels like it's in my veins. It's hard to explain, but whenever, I don't want to say we were away from it, but I needed a little rest. I needed a little break. Episode 400 with Nate was a really big accomplishment for us. And here's the thing. So before I get into this right now, I'll explain to what's been going on with the company the past, couple weeks. Obviously, Nathan McKinnon, episode 400, really big accomplishment for us. Awesome. We also just did the men's national 22 under baseball tournament. We live streamed for them. Why are you laughing? That's what we. Well,
no, I'm not laughing. I'm smiling.
Oh,
I'm saying
okay.
it was a good experience. Brings back some good memories.
When you're talking, you got to go to there. There you go. Live streamed and we created some media content for them. Just fantastic, fantastic week. 2 weeks. I want to go back to the McKinnon podcast for a bit. We've already had Nate on, episode 299. Great episode. You know what? Let's go back even further. Let's go back to let's go even before episode 1. When you start a podcast, everyone at some point is going to start. Everyone does this. Let's not.
Everyone's going to start a podcast.
Everyone at some point is going to start a podcast. Who doesn't? It's a podcast. It's the easiest thing in the world. Easiest thing. Until they get to episode 10 and the people kind of run out of what we talk about now. So, when I started this podcast, I don't know, what am I talking about? Before I started, I had a conversation with myself in the mirror. Dead serious, probably for like 10 minutes. It was the weirdest thing I've ever done. And I looked at myself in the mirror because you get to a point in life where you try so many things and you fail. You try, you fail, try, you fail, try, you fail, Jeff. And you just have to kind of pick something and just decide not to quit. So the podcast to me was the simplest thing to navigate through without frustration. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, makes sense.
So there's people that work at banks and they love numbers and they know it comes natural and easy to them and they can solve problems without getting really, really, really stressed out and they can work hard at it. Me, I can't do numbers. I can't work that hard at crunching things. I would give up. But with the podcast, if there was a point of a thought coming into my head where I wanted to quit, I thought, okay, no, I know how to edit video of myself. A little egotistic, sure, call it what you want, but I know how to talk. I know how to edit. I know how to solve problems through the podcast world because I've watched so many in my life before starting this. So it was an honest conversation with myself in the mirror before starting this. Okay, look, here's what you're going to do, and you're going to do it for the rest of your life. It was a scary I thought of everything. I thought of like... let's say, Justin, you have kids one day. What are your kids going to think? You have a dad who's doing a pod. I'm not saying I have kids or will have. I'm just, you have these conversations with yourself. You're going to be the guy that shows up to your kids' work one day and it's like, oh, yeah, my dad's a professional podcaster. It's like, it's a weird, same with having a wife, like, what does your husband do? Oh, he's a podcast. You have to have those conversations with yourself before you really, really start something. And I had that conversation with myself and I said, I'm willing to have the backlash of whatever the hell goes on with this journey that we're going through on this is episode 401. So before any of this starts, I had that conversation with myself. And that's not the negative side, but that's the honest side. You look in the mirror for 10 minutes, you say, Justin, here's the honest God's truth of what's going to happen from point A to point B. And it's not a fun conversation because you have to tell yourself the truth. It's not going to be fun. You might be sleeping on a couch. You might not get approval from other people. You could get some looks. Yeah, you know what I mean. But Jeff Warburton, there is another side to that conversation. And now what side do you think that conversation is when I'm having with myself in the mirror? I talked about the truth. Now what's the other side?
The potential?
The potential, the hope.
Nailed it.
The hope. So what's that conversation like? Who do you hope to have on?
Yeah, one day.
And who do you think's top 3?
For you? Sid number 1. McKinnon number 2, and Oh man.
To be quite honest with you, before I said top 3, I didn't even know who was in the top 3. I just wanted to know what you. That's not the point.
I can't even like. We got 2 people we always talk about, and I just named them. So
but whatever. Nate, like when I was having that conversation with myself, Nate was in that conversation. Same with like when you're out working out and you're running, you're just thinking of goals. You're thinking of and I don't want to say you manifest things, but you bring things into life. And Nate coming on, obviously he's a great person for coming on, and I owe everything to that guy. Not everything, but some stuff. Even though he chirped me golfing. Those are the things you think about when you're having the conversation in the mirror. You go, okay, this is gonna suck for some points, but there's gonna be some rewarding points maybe. And Nate is one of those rewarding points whenever he comes on. So before even episode 1 started, you have to have this conversation with yourself. Can this work? Will this work? How do I navigate through this podcast world? And I think you already know the answer to this, but most people don't. It's trial and error. And if you're willing to put the trial and error and the effort in for 401 episodes, maybe you'll see a little bit of what's the word? Success, not success. You'll see a little bit of something. You'll see a little bit of something. Now, Nate came on 299. Fantastic. Great episode. Episode 400, after winning the Stanley Cup, I don't want to say there was nerves, because I'm past the point of nerves with this. Right, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm... Jeff, I know what I'm doing.
For sure.
I hate that I'm admitting this, but there was almost a little bit of, what are people going to think of me? Selfishly, because not that a lot of people didn't watch or listen to the 299.
Right.
This episode, people from all over the world watched. Someone commented saying I look like I have chemo, even though I got a full set of hair. Some people were making fun of me, saying, there's just it's a different level.
Were you sitting in the comments of those?
Oh yeah, big time.
The McKinnon and the Clips ones. I sat in for about the first 2 days. I sat in, and there was a lot of positive. I'd say 90% positive. And then if you stick around too long and the video views go up, then everything goes up, including the negative comments and stuff. And I was curious if you were what your eye was on that. Were you seeing every comment coming into those 3 clips we posted? Or?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, we don't get a lot of comments on our YouTube videos. Facebook, sure. YouTube, no. Yeah. So when I was going through, and it kind of goes back to my own rule of thumb. My own rule of thumb of people creating opinions on myself is, it's a win, whether it's positive or negative, because people are so busy in this world. People, they have to drive their kids to school. They got to get groceries. They have to pay bills. They got to sweep, and they got to clean on top of the baseboards. They got to, they have so much they have to do. So much. So for someone to take time out of their day and say, that guy looks like he has chemo treatment, that's a win for me. It is. Even though it's negative, someone took time out of their day to go, I'm going to form an opinion about this person. Right, that is a win. And I had that conversation with myself in the mirror how many years ago? I don't know now, but the rule of thumb is, when creating content, win or lose, negative, positive comment, as long as someone's taking time out of their day to pay attention to the brand called High Button Sports, win.
Dude, the worst thing that can happen is if someone watches you and has no opinion on you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
and I forgot that rule, because there's times in this podcast where, it's not the most popular podcast. It's not that wasn't the right question to ask Justin. Why this Justin this, it's not the, and I get it. But this one, that's the big dog. It's Nathan McKinnon. And it was incredible. It was incredible. And I have to thank Nate. I know he's probably sick of me thanking him. But he doesn't have to do that. He can go anywhere in the world. He can go to Sportsnet. He can go to TSN. He can go to the Chiclet Spittin'. He can go anywhere he wants to go. But he decided to come to his hometown of Nova Scotia, Cole Harbour, Halifax, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And he decided to show love. That says all I need to know about that guy.
Oh, yeah. He was a great guy, man. I don't know if it could have gone better. It was definitely a magical couple days there, I think, for the whole team. The whole High Button team, man. It was special. I think I don't even know if we talked about this. You called me the night before. I was working away, and you said, "Are you able to come in tomorrow?"
Well, I made a promise to him.
Yeah.
And not that I don't trust you, Jeff. Jeff Warburton, I trust you. I do. You know that.
Right.
Like you have the code to my house. You know how to get in. I trust you with everything. Mm-hmm. You know that, right?
Of course.
Okay. But I did make a promise to Nate. I said, I'll read the message so everyone
Get
can
him
get
out.
to know.
Get the receipts out. We're all friends here.
So, I said to him, well, here's the thing. So before we get into this, he's signed with a company called No Bull.
No Bull.
And for those of you who don't know, I'm renovating my house right now, and we ordered a new oven and we ordered a new fridge. And I know everyone right now is thinking, Justin, what are you talking about right now? What does this have to do with McKinnon coming on? You know, but the delivery man who delivered the new oven was wearing a No Bull hat. And No Bull, I'm pretty sure, is an American company. I don't know. I haven't seen much of it around here. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, it's like a brand, like much smaller than Adidas or Nike, obviously.
Yeah.
But they have a couple athletes here and there. I know Mac Jones, Patriots quarterback's in on it. A couple other guys, but very that's what it is.
So, so here's the thing. Like, I messaged him a couple times. I'm like, hey man, congrats on the cup. You know. But I never really asked him for. I mean, he knows obviously I want him to come on, but I'm not going to ask him. You know, 3 weeks after winning the cup. Think about how many things people asking him. So I just wasn't going to be that guy. So I waited. I'm not saying I looked for a sign, but I was looking for a sign of when to message him.
Big sign people here at High Button. We're big sign people here.
And I saw this delivery guy come in with my oven. And he had a No Bull hat on. So what do? I go upstairs. I think about it. I take a nap. I swear to God. I took a nap. Woke up. I said, okay, Justin, if you feel comfortable asking him after you wake up from the nap and you think about it, go for it. Woke up from the nap, had a sip of water, brushed my teeth. You know, when you wake up from a nap, your mouth, you gotta... Yeah. You know what? Dry. It's just you got a
little morning breath in there, probably. Yeah.
So woke up,
fresh out there.
Had some water, brushed my teeth a bit. Not a bit, I just did. And I said, I'm doing it. So here's the message. I go, our next episode is number 400. Love to have you on and make a splash. I won't mention your next contract or the healthy food thing, just the season, playoff run, and your cup plans. Also, won't have anyone extra in the studio. I'll keep it low key. He said, sounds good, brother. Let's do it. When's good? So the basically key principle to that is I won't have anyone extra in the studio. I'll keep it low key. So when I messaged Jeff Warburton sitting right across from me saying, Jeff, tomorrow, I knew, a week before, let's say, I just didn't want it out there. You know Halifax, you know Bedford, you know Nova Scotia. You know it just as well as I do. People talk. People say, hey. People say, hey, what are you doing? I'm guilty of it. Hey, guess what I heard? This guy shot a 67 over at Glenar. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty.
Small community.
Exactly, 100%. So this was one I just wanted to keep close to my chest. I wanted to keep my cards close to my chest and only let the people know a day of. I let dudes know, I think 2 days before. I let you know a day before, and that's it. And then he came over and made magic happen. It was incredible. It was a great conversation, and I liked how we were comfortable with each other a little bit more than the first episode.
Yep.
Excuse me. As much as I hate that he was chirping me a bit about the golf thing. It's like, I love the fact he's chirping me. We're getting a little bit more comfortable.
For sure.
But no, a fantastic guy, fantastic, obviously hockey player, and it was incredible. And with that comes the reward of views and monetization and comments and recognition. We were mentioned in I don't know how many articles, CBC, a lot of Denver newspapers wrote things about
beat writers down there.
What's that?
The beat writers.
Oh, they said meat writers.
No, beat, the guys who just follow beat.
Oh, the beat writers. Yeah. I got you.
The abs there.
Yeah, I got you.
That's there.
So that was fantastic. Yeah, just no complaints. Those are the moments that when you're having the conversation in the mirror, when you're done with the first 5 minutes of saying this is going to hurt, this isn't going to be fun, there's going to be times where you're doing this, that, but guess what? There's going to be times where you are rewarded. And 2 weeks ago, this company was rewarded, and it was rewarded in a big way. And that's to me, it doesn't matter what you do in life. That's the entrepreneurial addiction. It is, money's great too, but in the free time, is good as well. But it's the unknown of what's gonna happen next. It's like, whoa, what? Because an entrepreneur, you do, whoa, what's going on next?
I know.
You're just next. What's
I
next?
love it
What's
too,
next?
man.
What's next?
It's
What's
addicting.
Next? It's addicting, isn't it?
Man.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be in this industry unless you like it. But I think about it the same way. Like, I've been here for, I guess, like, I don't even know, man, over a year. And there's ups and downs for sure. But every time we do a tournament or every time we have a big podcast or when I met Pat Stay that time and like all these people I've been able to meet through it, I'm like, that's why you do it. Like, for the moments after the McKinnon podcast where, like, it's just, it was something us, me, you dudes shared, with Nate, and he was a great guy. I've had a lot of people ask me how he was, and he was just an awesome guy. But it's those moments. And even after the baseball nationals, I felt the same way where it's like, I don't know, it's just so unique, and it's something like I'll never forget. Like, the biggest games of these kids' lives, we were able to commentate or, like, right after them, like, I'll be able to tell that, like, my kids about that McKinnon interview, like the first interview since he won his first cup, like, legend here. Like, I watched him win the President's Cup, and you're talking to him after that. So you're right, man. It's addicting, and that's what keeps you going through these, like, the tough times, right?
Absolutely.
Is the unknown. Like, we didn't do too much before that McKinnon podcast for like a couple weeks there. Like, it's kind of like a bit of an off season for us. Not totally, but, hockey, our bread and butter, is off. Playoffs are off. NHL's off. So, but the fact that you could call me at 3:30 on a Thursday afternoon and say, are you available at 10 tomorrow? Like, we got a big thing coming. It's like, man, it's something special. Yeah. It's something special for sure.
It's fun. And then, we have to talk about nationals. We're not talking about provincials. We're not talking about regular season. Yeah. We're talking about a national championship. And I couldn't be more proud of this team and how we stuck together as a team. We worked through problems as a team, and we came out on the other end as a team. Going through what we went through this past week with the live streaming is not easy unless we've been together that's why I didn't really want two new guys around. I didn't want the interns around because it's hectic. It's chaotic. Same thing. I'm just trying to chuck words out there to sound a little bit more important.
There's moments there where it's not going to be pretty.
There's moments there where I'm yelling at you. There's moments there where you're yelling at me. There's moments there where I have to tell you how I actually feel in order for you to get this done. It's hot. It's sweaty. It's humid. It's damp.
14-hour days.
14-hour days. You're drinking water. You're pissing eight times an hour. You're trying to get some food in you. If you have it, there's so much going on, and to deliver under the pressure, I couldn't be more proud of the group of guys that work for this company we like to call High Button Sports.
Oh yeah.
And dude's calling the championship. He's so, man. I get it. Like, I get baseball and the passion for it, and what's the saying? How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Oh,
well, I get that, but not like dudes, not like Aiden. Maybe
man.
I don't know, but
those two, man, they were locked in.
They just get it.
Yeah.
And for dudes, like it to him calling the national championship game, I don't think I'm gonna call him actually right now. Just one sec.
Let's see here.
Does he pick? He should be. Oh, there you go.
Yellow.
What's up? We're going on the pod right now. Can you hear me?
Imagine.
We're talking about so I was saying to Jeff, I was like, the saying, how can you not be romantic about baseball? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
So I was saying, like, how important calling that, not important, but just how special calling that national championship game was, and how I maybe I get it, maybe Jeff does too, but you and Aiden, like, I don't know, you got it just seemed like a really special moment, that championship game for you guys, and to be able to call that, it's incredible.
It was absolutely, honestly, I'm still kind of living on a high from it, to be quite honest with you. What are we, four days later now?
I don't know. Yeah. 6, I think.
Like, I
Sunday.
sit here and I watch through games still. The gold medal game, I bet you I've watched 4 or 5 times at least since the tournament has ended. Just to rewatch like the game and the shots of the crowd, and you know, every now and then there's a description of something that's going on at the field, and I've never ever seen Beasley Field like that before, and I think that's what started the electricity for me.
Yeah.
Was being a former player and knowing how we were never close to that moment and never having that crowd at the field. It almost put you back in that scenario. So I kind of felt like a player, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, and then so I got nervous because I was telling you guys upstairs, I was pacing around, and it was a big moment. And I think, just to answer pretty much your first statement, it's something I'll never forget. It's something that I almost took it for granted at the time, but then I look back and I go, that was a national final, and not many people get to call one of those.
No. Rare, yeah.
It's across Canada. It's nationwide. What do we have? Something 4,500 some odd viewers.
Well, think about the past 2 years. There hasn't been any national championship. Well, I guess in Nova Scotia or in Canada.
Wow, I never even considered that part of it.
Here's what I want to ask you. Like here's what I want to say. When I was doing the McKinnon podcast, and it did really well, and I got a couple chirps on like YouTube, like people were making fun of me for some stuff, and when you were doing the commentating, you got a couple chirps as well for the national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Here, actually, no. Before you answer, let me tell you what I thought.
Okay.
Getting to the level that we're slowly progressing to, it's just part of the business, so it doesn't really affect me. It's like I said to Jeff, if someone's taking the time out of your day to go, that person sucks, that's a win, because they're taking time out of their day. People are so busy. For someone to sit down and go, oh, that guy sucks, that's a win. That's my perspective. What's your perspective on it?
I'm going to have 2 perspectives for you. The first one, and it's just going to be in agreement with you, that's a win. If you're going to, every chirp means a view, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to chirp multiple times, that means you're locked into the game. So something is keeping you there.
Ooh, I like that.
Chirping is all it is. That's fine with me too. I am absolutely on board with it. You know, every now and then you read it and you go, geez, why would he say that? You know, I thought I was doing pretty good or something like that. But I don't know. I chalk it up as a win. If you're taking your Friday night away from whatever you normally do on Friday nights to watch junior baseball and watch us, High Button Sports, commentate and bring you a game, something's keeping you there.
Yeah.
That's my first point. The second one is, when you're the person who I am, if anybody on that stream knew who I was and wasn't using their real name, I'm a chirper by nature. I'm a mothy guy. Everyone will agree with that. So I just assume, on the ground that I stand on, people are going to want to return the favor at some point, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But other than that, that's a W, baby, in my books.
100%. All right, well, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get your comment on that.
Perfect. That's a great question.
You going to ball?
Yeah, I got a doubleheader tonight. You know me, I don't stop.
You're actually playing 2 games tonight? 2?
Oh, yeah.
7 innings?
Pitch is way faster than baseball.
7 or 9 innings?
7.
All right, well,
I just cleaned my car up from the tournament to get my bag in the car.
What car are you taking up? What car are you taking up tomorrow to the cottage?
I can tell you it won't be mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, you're cutting out there. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give you a call back. Or what? Oh, you'll be playing ball. Just text me after your second game. I'll give you, and then we'll talk.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, I'll talk later.
This weekend, boys.
See ya.
Bye.
Well, that's our premium commentator right there.
Well, that's
straight
what
from the mouth.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like what he said about the national championship. That's an accomplishment. It's not provincials. It's not regular season. It's not exhibition. It's not a tournament. It's a national championship. One person told me, I forget who, years ago. This was back when I was trying to first get advertising for the podcast. I remember oh man, if you have a business in Nova Scotia, I know I've said this before, most likely if you check your email, there's an email from High Button Sports trying to get money from you. And one guy replied back, I wish I remembered the guy's name. He's a business owner around here. I think it was like a landscaping company. I forget exactly what it was. And this guy called me back. And he's like, look, Justin, I can't give you any money, but I want to give you like a little piece of advice or just wisdom, whatever. He goes, I love your package. I love the email. I can see the hustle in you. And he goes, I want you to understand something. When people are willing to give you dollars, it's the utmost respect a person can give you in terms of business. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're a 2-year-old kid, not 2, but how old can you be shoveling a driveway?
7 or 8.
So you can 8-year-old kid shoveling a driveway. If someone's going to give you $20, that's an utmost respect to that 8-year-old kid shoveling your driveway. If someone's going to give us money to do a national championship live stream event, that is people putting trust in us. That's people putting trust in our commentators. That's people allowing us to go in and work with their brand that they've built. And when I heard that, I don't know how many years ago, I took that to heart. I don't really know what he's trying to tell me back then. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just trying to get some advertising. I'll help you out. But years later, I understand that responsibility, if that makes sense. Because maybe back then I was like, when I say if you have a business, I probably messaged everyone for advertising. Maybe that wasn't the most responsible thing to do, because how am I going to advertise? What's a company that just doesn't need advertising, that sells itself, like a construction. I messaged like the whole Lebanese community. I remember once to like message them to help sell their apartment buildings. Like that. Like how am I gonna? It was. Just a little irresponsible of me.
Right.
So I just mass emails. And what I take from that now is be a little bit more choosy of who you decide to associate High Button Sports with. Obviously, men's 2200 whatever national baseball tournament. That's where High Button Sports in that tournament, championship align. That works out great.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But back then, messaging all that doesn't make sense. So those are things that I guess you could learn along the way. But one thing you can never really prepare yourself for is other people's opinions. But like I said to you, you roll with them, and then you let them roll off your back, and you keep working, and you keep striving for the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a couple comments too. I did 2 games on the weekend. I haven't done a ton of baseball. I'd say hockey's more my bread and butter. But I did a couple baseball games there, and the first game, probably working out the nerves. It was the last game, or the second last game of the day. We had a long day. It was the rain delay game. I think you remember that one pretty well.
Oh yeah.
And then so I saw a couple comments on there, and I just I always just said in my head, I said, it's part of the job. Part of the business. Like, it is what it is. And my parents were like, and I had a bunch of family and friends watching at home on the big screen. And my parents were like, my brother's girlfriend told me that my mom was like, make an account and get in there and comment like you're doing great, like go back. Like all my family members wanted to like make burners to like defend me in our YouTube comments. And I was like, 1, I'm glad you didn't do that. 2, it's all right. Like it comes with the job and the territory, and like what am I gonna do? There's probably some truth to what these people are saying. Try to readjust and do better. But yeah, it's definitely something you kind of have to get used to, man. These there was a couple guys in the comments, man, and I think just the way we do it on YouTube, open platform. What's gonna get commented is gonna get commented. We could remove stuff, but that's not really the High Button way.
Yeah,
it's never been the High Button way. Like you usually let if a message comes in and it says show or hide, you usually pick and show, because it's like High Button is honest. We come on here after the McKinnon podcast. We tell you exactly how it went down. We tell you. Yes. So I think it just comes with it, and I think it builds some thick skin in the industry, especially like if you're gonna get annoyed at every single comment that comes through and craps on you, you're never gonna make it. So it's pretty cut and dry in my mind how you get over it.
One thing that really impressed me overall was the event, over at Beasley Field last week. I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I guess Wednesday was the home run derby. But what an event put on by Paul. What a classy group of organizers, volunteers, people with the blue T-shirts on.
Right.
I was impressed. Events have always fascinated me on how to generate income by having people come view your product. Like I've always thought about doing live shows. I've always pondered about that and putting on an event and having people come buy tickets.
Like the High Button show, the High Button podcast live.
Exactly.
Out of some bar downtown type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all. That side of the business has always fascinated me. But I just love this studio. There's a part of me that, me, I don't like to complicate things. Everyone's Justin. What's next? I love this podcast. I love live streaming ish. Well, I love when you guys do it, at least. I love, you know, I just love what we're doing. And, you know, if the, maybe I should talk to a bar or someone, or I don't know if
it's hard to gauge interest, really. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of fans and a lot of older fans that I think would be legal to come in. There's a lot of kids that listen to the show, a lot of parents that listen to the show. So I think there'd be some sort of interest, but are you scared of the failure? Are you scared that you're going to book it, you're going to set it up, and then 5 people are going to come? Or are you just scared of moving out of the studio and putting that work in? Because, you know, we could figure that out.
Yeah.
But are you scared that no one's gonna be that you know, is that what it is? Because that's kind of what frightens me more, is like the fear of like failure in that sense, where it's like, you know, we put in all this work and no one shows up, and then it's like, and that's something probably I gotta get over, and probably something like, I don't know, like I'm saying, is that weigh on you, or does that even come into your mind?
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It comes into my mind, but not as big as maybe you think. I'm very well aware of how. No, I shouldn't say I'm well aware. I'm only 30 years old. I'm not well aware of anything. I'm still navigating life and how to maneuver it, but I'm getting pretty good at it. I understand in order to find a positive, a negative has to come first type thing. I know that failure is necessary in order to find just a little bit of success, and when it does come to a live show, there's obviously a possibility that no one shows up, but there's also a part of me, you know, humble brag here, I don't really care what people think about this, but you know, I get recognized. I go to the gym and I see the eyeballs, people, I you know, I'm out and I get recognized. People say great job, you know, actually I shouldn't say that, but people are aware of the podcast. It's a great thing. I love that people, you know, support us, that have comments and feedback for us. It's a great thing. But what I'm about to say is true. Getting people to get up out of their house, find a babysitter, potentially, find parking, spend $60 for maybe a dinner before, and then spend, I don't know how much I charge to come see me. I you know,
probably not
$10 bucks maybe. $10. You know, you're looking at potentially, you know, $100 night. I believe that there is a huge difference between people driving to the cottage and turning on the High Button podcast to, I'm going to spend $100 on this brand. I think that there is a huge difference to the people that are willing to get up, put a pair of clothes on, find parking, travel to a location, sit down, get a couple drinks, and watch some guy with a beard, red hair, talking to a microphone. I believe there's a different, that's a whole different level of, it's almost like comedy, live comedy. Whenever you go to a live comedy show, the benefit of a live comedy show is what? There's 7 of them. So someone's bound to like 7 comedians up there.
Right.
They're after one another. So you're like, oh, look at the crowd here for a comedy show. This is fantastic.
Someone bombs. It's no big deal.
Guess what? There's some comedians that are working those regular jobs that are saying, hey, can you come to my show tonight? I'm going to be there. Bring 5 people. But, you know, you got 5 people coming, maybe 10 people for the next comedian. And all of a sudden you got a half full bar. That's not like us. If we have a show, it's me and a microphone.
Yeah.
There's a different level, I think, of a live podcast and a fan base, like I said, of getting people up out of their seats, putting a pair of pants on and going to a bar, going to a venue. Back to your first question. Is there fear? Yeah, there sure is a little bit of fear, but I'm kind of over the whole fear factor. I really don't. It affected me a bit the first, 1, 2, maybe I'm not, even after 300 episodes, you're still a little But right now, oddly enough, I have an exuberant amount of confidence, not in a cocky way, not in an arrogant way. Aiden was saying to dudes the other day when we were walking around the baseball thing, where we were up top and I was down. Well, I went down low because I had to go on the field to fix a flag. And I remember there was a gentleman that was blocking the gate, and I go up to the gentleman and I go, just excuse me, I just got to get out there and fix my flag. And the gentleman moved. He said, yeah, absolutely, Justin, go on through. And I fixed it. You didn't really think too much of it. And I go back up to the top, and Aiden said to dudes, like, you're just walking down there like you own the place. And it's not my intention to walk around like I own the place.
Right.
I'm just trying to fix a flag. But I maybe I am giving off that certain confidence, that swagger that maybe I didn't have in the past. And I don't know how people are going to take this from. People could be, some people are going to wake up tomorrow fucking 6 a.m. to go to their job and take it from someone. And they maybe don't have that confidence and they're looking for that in life. I hope that those people aren't taking this conversation or this podcast in the wrong way of going, I'm an arrogant prick. I'm not at all.
No, you're not.
I'm on a mission, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm on a...
Dude, you work hard. You're a business owner who's finding some success. Of course you're going to get your feet under you a bit.
Everyone works hard. Not everyone, but some people were, the guy waking up tomorrow at 6 a.m. to catch that 7 a.m. bus, to make it to work by 9, to take it from that boss who's a dick, to that's the person who works hard. I sit here on a camera and it's not,
Yeah.
But it's just such a fine line. And I'm not going to sit here and say I cross it. I really don't give whatever. If you think I'm arrogant, you think it is what it is. But at the end of the day, if you're a person out there that's on a mission, you kind of can't really care what people think, and you have to kind of go straight through the brick wall. You can't really stop and go, who's looking at me? Who's looking at me? What's that person behind me? Are they laughing at me? Jeff, are you making fun of me? You can't think like that. So when I go out and I see my flag a little crooked, I'm not thinking at all, no one's going to stop me from getting that flag and fixing it. So when the gentleman's in front of me, excuse me, sir, do you mind if I just get, that's the mindset. Does that make sense? Or am I just talking out of my ass here?
I don't think it's arrogance. I think it's more,
I had to fix the flag.
Yeah. And I think that, there's you wake up every morning. I hope people can kind of think about this, because I think about this a lot as your first official employee or your second or whatever it was. You wake up every morning and you don't necessarily know what's on your plate for the day. You don't have the stabilization. You don't have I'm going to go in, I'm going to take this from my boss. I'm going to come home at 6 p.m. I'm going to update my girlfriend on the day, and we're going to watch Netflix. You got to wake up every day with that fire in you. So if we get in a big spot and we're at a national tournament and we want our friggin' flag to be straight, I don't think there's any, I don't think there's anything wrong with you kind of showing that, we're paid to provide the service, and you going down and trying to fix it. It's just, it kind of builds, man. It's got to build. You got to have that in you. Yeah. And not everyone's part of the sport media business. We are. And that's kind of comes with the territory. You got to have that confidence. So I don't think it's arrogance. I think it's more just, you kind of realize you've done a couple of these tournaments. You got to, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You gotta do your shit, and you gotta make sure that high button flag's straight, and you gotta make sure that the internet's running well, and that this camera's connected to this camera, and it's just I think it just comes with it. It's just different businesses, how it goes, and I think it's a good thing. I think the more that you can walk around like you own the place at an event where we're getting paid to be there and provide the best service we can get, the better our product will be. So. Yeah. That's just kind of how it is, man.
And I do want to say,
not everyone's going to get that.
And I do want to say this too. Everyone that came up to us and said, great job, and maybe we were a little short conversation with them, I don't want to apologize. I just want to say we're there working. So I know I said it in a tweet. I was like, come on out, say hello. We hope to see you. Yeah. I meant every minute of that. Yeah. Every single minute. Every letter of that tweet. Come on, I'd love to see you. Welcome. Let's get a party going here. But maybe one thing I didn't realize is that we're there to work. We can't really talk as much as I'd like to. When there's people that we saw so many people, friends, and I got to run the camera. I got to make sure the internet. So there was just so much going on. So if anyone was there and Justin, fuck dick, he didn't even talk to me for a minute. Because there was a couple times where they're like, hey, high button. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah. But then I had to run. Of course, I would have loved to go up to that person and say, oh, man, how do you know of high button? Thank you. Thank you. I worked so hard, man, at this. So thank you for recognizing it. So if there's anyone out there that was like, oh, Justin kind of blew me off, don't think I was blowing you off. I was probably running to go fix something.
Oh, yeah.
There was no point of me that doesn't want to talk to people. I always want to talk to people because that's how I do market research. I honestly, whenever I'm at the golf course and I see someone in our demographic that looks like our demographic, I kind of just well, high button, high button, have you? And I just mess with them a little bit. I go, how do you know high button? Just out of the blue. We were golfing the other day. There was people over on the other tee. There was a couple hockey guys, maybe 14, 15. I go, hey, "Are you that guy on High Button?" Like I never knew he was High Button. I just messed with
You
him.
asked him if he had been on High
Yeah,
Button?
I just go, "Have you been on the High? Are you High Button or something?"
You get mic'd up.
That's how I swear to you, this is how I do my market research. And then they go,
That's
"No,
something.
like I haven't been on High Button, but my buddy's cousin was on it." And I go,
Yeah.
"Oh, so what do you think about them?" Because sometimes it takes them a minute to like, wait, this redhead guy, is this the guy on the High Button? Because most people don't go Justin, they go High Button. I go, whatever. So I swear, whenever I'm out and about and I'm just kind of like in a bored state of mind, and I see someone that might know what's going on with High Button, I just go, "Hey, High Button." And then I just let them rant.
Yeah.
It's not, you'd be surprised some of the information there, the bits you'd get out of people. But no, my buddy's cousin was mic'd up like 3 years ago out in St. Margaret's Bay, and his aunt hated it, but his dad loved it, and you just it's how you do it. That's how I do it at least.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting.
You go to school and they're like, "Here's how you do market research. You get a form.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of emails. You put the form on the email. You send it out to 1,000 people. Then you go through the forms once they fill them out, and then that's how you're going to get your answer."
You send this shitty survey to 1,000 people and hope that 50 people will bother to fill it out. You might get 25, and then you move it along.
Just when you're out and about, when you're out and about, just ask people, "Have you heard of High Button before?" That's that's how I do it. That's how I groove and move through this world.
Yeah.
Speaking of grooving and moving, have you seen the new Elvis movie?
No, but I did want to say, just final wrap up on the baseball. Obviously, I was there for pretty much the whole time. We were all there. And I'll just say, I was proud of what we did, man. As someone who took production and been part of productions, and I went to school for this sort of thing, that was the biggest production we've ever run. 4 cameras, HDMI cords, left, right, center, commentators here, there, everywhere. And I don't know, Aiden, super like that guy's very impressive guy. Just overall, man, he's just very well spoken, and I just he killed it with the commentary. He killed it with the bass. He was he was the guy. Like if I didn't know something, he was the guy. He knows baseball like the back of his hand. Dudes, I hyped him up before that final game. I said, "Bro, you played for this Dartmouth team." I said, "This is a big deal. You got to go out there and commentate. You got to make this could be your legacy for this team, commentating them winning a national title." Didn't happen, but 1 run. They got close. He got to do the game. But I just want to say that production was like probably one of the more proud moments I was of us as a unit. Yeah. Even though, like I said, hockey's my bread and butter. That's what I probably care about the most. But that I was just happy to help. That was my whole thing going into the weekend. I'm happy to help, and it was great to see us pull something like that off, man. Multi-cam, biggest production in High Button history took place last weekend. So, yeah. Anyway,
how much time are we at?
45 minutes.
We're at 45 minutes. Holy smokes.
Have you seen? You got a couple thoughts out there, buddy.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sometimes you black out. Have you seen the new Elvis movie?
Not.
Wow. Tremendous respect for that guy. Not that I didn't before, but I just didn't. Holy
Elvis?
Smokes! What a weapon, I guess. His manager was kind of a dick. His manager was like an alien, pretty much. Didn't have a passport, couldn't leave the country. So Elvis wanted to go see the world and take his talents on the show. Right. But his manager was pretty much just like, "Nah, stay here. Let's stay in Vegas and do these movies in Hollywood and not really leave." And he blamed it on security issues over in Europe. He's like, "There's a war going on. Let's stay here and stay safe in America." When he had contracts in Germany and Japan for $1 million a night. $1 million a night, and his manager
back then too.
Back then, so I don't know what $1 million back in the 60s is now. Probably like $2 million.
Did they really say?
Yeah, they're like, like Elvis, you had like $1 million offer to play in Germany and in Japan like 2 years ago, but your agent or your manager just never like brought it up to you. Just the guy, his manager essentially worked him to death. At least that's what the movie made it seem like. And the talent on the guy, the voice, even like oddly enough, I watched one of his movies the other day from back in like the 70s. I forget the name of it. It was called, what was it called? Damn it. Anyways, he was an okay actor.
Right.
And the guy took a couple years, 3 years off singing just to act, comes back after acting, says, "No, I'm going to start singing again," takes the world by storm again, and then eventually just sings in Vegas until he gets old, and not even old. He died. He was like, I forget how old he was, but he became overweight, and he was on a lot of medication, and the drugs
didn't
eventually
get treated right.
Essentially, well, not even treated. Like his manager didn't want him to get treated. They just shot him up with morphine. There'd be nights where apparently he would faint like a couple hours before the show. They would shoot him up with morphine. They'd get him out on the stage just so he could sing for an hour because his manager apparently had a terrible gambling problem. So he would take all this money, gamble, and he just stayed in one location, Vegas, and he just never left. And his manager kept promising him. He goes, as soon as you're done these next 10 shows, we'll go see the world. We'll go do whatever. And then it was just like his manager just kept dangling a carrot in front of him. And man, his dad was like Elvis's dad was like so Elvis's agent goes, okay, Dad, you're the business manager, but really did nothing. They just put a label on him to make him seem important, and the manager basically controlled his dad. So there was one scene where I don't want to. This isn't
spoilers.
This isn't a spoiler, but like he faints. And the manager comes up and was like, the only thing that matters is that kid is on the stage tonight. And then the nurse looks at the manager and was like, well, if I was his mother, I'd put him in a hospital bed. And then the manager goes, well, I guess this is a business manager decision, meaning Elvis's dad.
Right.
And then Elvis's dad just kind of got bullied by the actual manager. Like, we better say the right thing here. And the dad's like, well, is there anything you can give him to get him on the stage? When if you're a good father, you just go, what are you talking about? I want my kid in bed resting.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Just a holy smokes. And
the spoke to you.
The pipes on the guy too. The guy could sing. He wasn't like, my theory on dancers with background being, all this shit. Elvis could sing.
I think he was like the first big star, wasn't he? Like what years was he around? Do you remember?
Yeah, like the 60s, 70s.
Right. And then because you see what happens when a big group goes international, like Elvis should have with the Beatles did.
Yeah.
They become the biggest band in history. So if Elvis, wasn't boxed up in Vegas, you never know what could have happened, to your point, right?
He traveled. He just didn't travel outside of the States.
That ain't traveling.
Yeah, exactly. No, what was I going to say? He just didn't have the right people around him.
Right.
He just had a bunch of...
And now everyone knows his story.
Yeah.
And
well acted. I'm not going to know the kid's name that played him, but holy smokes. I saw him on an interview with Jimmy Kimmel like 4 months ago, and he said that he couldn't get his accent, his Elvis accent, gone. Because he trained for this movie for 2 or 3 years to talk like him, to walk like him, to move like him, to do everything like him.
Right.
And he couldn't shake it. So he's doing this interview with Jimmy Kimmel 2 years after recording the movie, filming the movie, and he's still talking.
Let's hear it.
He's still talking like this. He's still talking like this. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. He's talking like I can't do it, but like he's still moved like him. It was crazy. Just so well acted. Great videos on YouTube of him side by side of the real performance, and just dead on the way they move their hands. And
the best Elvis story I always remembered was that when he was becoming popular, they would only and they would record him for TV or whatever. They would only record his face because his dance moves were too inappropriate, and like it was like back then it was so taboo to do like any sort of hip movement when you dance.
Yeah.
So they would just still camera on his face, even though under the camera it was just like his legs were moving all over the place and everything like that.
And think about it, you got Nicki Minaj and all mostly there's girls shaking their ass and
Cardi B.
Sure, Cardi B. You got all this. Well, I guess guys shake their hips too, but you don't really pay too much. But
Michael Jackson.
I gotta sneeze here. 1 sec. Excuse me. But you see all this nudity and this it's a great whatever. It is what it is. But you have Elvis to thank. How weird is that? Think about it. All like the women you see in the rap videos shaking their ass, they have a guy to thank. Elvis.
Started with Elvis, man.
There was no one before Elvis shaking their hips or just moving and grooving and feeling the music. How crazy is that?
I think my grandparents said that they have a buddy named Dude is his nickname, and he was always a good dancer who would try to dance like Elvis. And they said at the junior high dances he would do the moves, and they would kick him out of the gym.
What?
They wouldn't let him dance like Elvis like in the gym. They would kick because it was just too taboo back then, man. Like even like the kids were trying to like emulate him, and they would just no, like it's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah. You know those old junior high dances you'd go to? Did you go to those when you were a kid? You know, you'd ask the girl for the slow dance.
Oh yeah.
You're sweating.
Yeah.
You're shaking. Those type of dances, man. The kids were trying to do it.
Those junior high dances were so sweaty. I remember going to them. I remember oddly enough going to them after hockey practice because they were always at like 7, 8 o'clock, and I'd always have practice at like 6 or 7, and I would just go to the dance after practice, and I'd shower at the rink. But I remember just being so sweaty in those gymnasiums.
You probably fit right in,
I guess. But like I just remember, well, one, you're already nervous to talk to a girl in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
But you're just sweating profusely. You stink. You're just like, I don't want to talk to these people that I'm going to see tomorrow at lunchtime. Like I just remember those dances were in.
Dude, there was one the school I went to, and like one of the last ones I went to, they had to move from the gym to the cafeteria, and literally at the end of the night, you could run your finger down the wall of the cafeteria, and there would be like, you know, when the condensation comes in, and the whole cafeteria. Sorry if anyone's like eating or anything, because that's actually pretty gross, but. That's how sweaty those things used to get, man. You could run your hand down the condensation on the wall.
Wow, ours got canceled. I think people were having like sex on the dance floor or something. Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
They were probably just grinding, bro.
No, I'm pretty sure they found like condoms and stuff the next day. But
high school?
High school.
Right.
So there was a thing called the Greek dance, and it was at the Greek church right down the street here. And those were insane. I have a buddy who just sweats profusely anyways.
Right.
And he was just sweating, and he went outside just to get some fresh air. And security found him just sweating. And they thought he was on like ecstasy because he was sweating at an amuse rate. But if you know this guy, I'm not going to give his name. He'll be sweating right now in this cool basement. He just sweats. It's just he sweats a lot.
Tough bounce.
So they kicked him out of the dance because they thought he was on just heavy drugs.
Oh my god!
Oh man, those Greek dances were insane. The basement of the Greek church. I don't think there was any air conditioning. If there was, I didn't feel it. And it was a combined high school dance because apparently, like high school dances. Did you have a high school dance?
Junior high was what we would do. By high school, they kind of died out. There might have been a few, but. Okay. It wasn't so much of a thing, but 6, 7, 8, 9, it was a big deal.
So I think my era of high school dances kind of ended. Like maybe grade 10 I had one, but 11, 12, I forget. But this happened across all schools, like CPA, Citadel, a bunch of schools just 1 year canceled all their dances. So there was a need for dances.
Yeah.
So I forget who organized it, but this one guy organized all these dances at the Greek not the Greek Leb, just the Greek church. And all these schools combined into one basement.
Oh, man.
And you talk about fights.
High schoolers.
High school. You talk about fights. You talk about like security. You talk about police. You talk about drugs. You talk about
condoms.
Condoms. You talk about like fights over girls. Like not just a recipe for chaos. And I remember those dances only lasted a year, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And they were some of the best dances ever. But you just give that much freedom to that many kids, it's a recipe for disaster. But you talk about shaking your hips, man. You're dancing, you're tearing up the dance floor. It's a great time. I remember there was nights you have no money. You spend all your money on booze. You just end up walking home.
Yeah.
You just don't even know where home is, man.
You pay the $5 to get in. You get a couple pops into you beforehand, and the rest is history.
Oh, those were the best nights, man. Best nights. So much fun. But anyways, we have Elvis to thank for those fun nights.
Yeah.
Moving and
Legend
grooving.
of the game, man. Legend of the game.
How much time are we at right now?
56.
So let's say goodbye to the people. Let's wrap it up. I want to thank once again Proline for sponsoring this episode. God love Proline.
Sports are kicking up here
Sports
soon.
are kicking up
Start
here
of
soon.
September, football season. Hockey and basketball very shortly behind.
Yes.
Formula 1 still going on. Baseball playoffs.
Golf.
Oh.
Hopefully the Jays make a run. They're sucking.
Oh, they're
lately.
making it, Brad. They're making that run.
You know, but once again, thank you for everyone for tuning in, listening. I hope that everyone enjoys their weekend. Summer is slowly creeping. You know, we're going to be shoveling in like 3 months here. So enjoy these last couple of weekends or weeks, of summer. And, you know, thank you for everything. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I got to say.
Thanks for supporting.
Yeah, work hard, have fun, enjoy. We are out.
See ya.
Peace. Boom.